Hello and welcome back to another FPL video. Today we're going to be looking at differential midfielders. What do I mean by this? Well, I mean players that are less than 3% owned. They'll really set you apart from the rest of the FPL community and field. And if they do well, they'll just send you flying up their leaderboards. If you're new around here, you're enjoying this kind of content, don't forget to hit that subscribe, like button, really helps me out. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So surprisingly, coming in at just below 3% at about the 2.5% mark, we have Stewart Armstrong for Southampton. I thought he'd be a lot more highly owned than this. A lot of people talking about him, that little combination with Ings he has. For 5.5 million, I think he's a great option. I do although think that a lot of people are going for St. Maximin, who's about 19% owned right now. The other player at about 5.5 mil because he has the better sort of fixtures for the first two games. And then you could potentially look at bringing in Armstrong, even though Armstrong does have a very good kind of set of fixtures from game week 1 through to game week 8. So if you don't want to kind of waste a transfer in sort of faffing about with Armstrong and St. Maximin, because it is quite a sideways move, then I'd go for Armstrong in that first game week against Crystal Palace. Not too bad of a fixture for Southampton, but then carrying on through, Southampton have great fixtures, and Armstrong was very prolific towards the end of last season. He was getting plenty of goals. He's got a few assists in pre-season, and just in general for 5.5 million, I think that is great value. Another player to look at under 3% owned is Diogo Jota. Obviously, it's a hard one with Jota because you don't know 100% whether he is actually going to start. It tends to be whether it's either him or Traore. But if he does start, he is very good, especially if they play in that kind of 3-5-2. If Jota is up front, that could be an incredible little purchase for 6.5 million. And he does get on the score sheet. Obviously, Jimenez is their main guy. But for 2 mil less, you get some kind of Wolves asset. I guess you also, Traore is the same price. But I think Jota is actually probably going to get more game time. Santos loves to bench Traore. Traore coming off the bench and as an impact player is actually just absolutely incredible. So Jota definitely one to consider. But saying that, I do think there are other kind of differential options that are better. But if you want a part of Wolves, they do have very good fixtures. And if you don't quite have enough money to get Jimenez, Diogo Jota definitely one to look at. Right, next up we have two Fulham players. Now, the Premier League haven't actually updated their images, so you have Knockaert with a Brighton kit and Cavaliero with a Wolves kit. Now, with these guys, Cavaliero scored 6 and assisted 7, and Knockaert scored 3 and assisted 4 in the Championship. Both of these guys have previous Premier League experience. You could also pick Tim Kearney, who had 8 assists and I think 1 goal last season. But I like Knockaert with the previous Premier League experience and Cavaliero. I think these guys could be very good. I think they're definitely ones to watch. Maybe not get them in until sort of game week 5 or 6. I think game week 6 is when they have a good set of fixtures. They have a good set of sort of 1 to 3 and then 5 to 6. So definitely watch how these guys do in the first couple of weeks. If they're doing well, then I definitely think that these guys could be ones to pick up for. If you've got Armstrong or you've got St. Maximin and you're looking for a player to swap to, I think these two guys could be very, very good value for money. If, obviously, once we see how they play, they could just be duds, so you never know, but definitely ones to look out for. Right, next we've got Dwight McNeil for Burnley, who had a pretty good season last year. His underlying stats were incredible. The way he grows around players, he's still very, very young as well, and this could very well be his breakthrough season. Now, he has been linked with Leicester, so if that move does go through, which I'm unsure about because he plays directly in that position where James Maddison plays, so whether they want 2 of those players, I'm not really sure. But if he stays at Burnley, still I think a very good option. They have some decent fixtures coming up, especially with the likelihood that Burnley will have a double game week at some point. They obviously, he's not one to put in your team for the first game week because he doesn't play. But after that, they have a double game week, and yes, it is against Manchester City. But it's extra points. And Dwight McNeil, for me, I hope he goes and has a breakthrough season because he was picking up a few goals and assists last season. But this season really could be the one for him and definitely one to look out for 6 million. And the last player we're going to come to is Riyad Mahrez. What an absolute baller. I don't expect that he's going to stay below 3% for too long. Obviously, Manchester City don't have that first game week fixture, which is probably why he isn't as highly owned. I expect to see that go up to even 7-10%. But I guess with the Manchester City assets, you don't really know who is going to play. With heavy links to Messi, you've got Messi, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva all potentially playing in that right wing spot. The Pep Roulette is going to be insane next year. So maybe you want to go for a more kind of consistent player like De Bruyne and Sterling, which is kind of why those guys are so expensive. Obviously, they have very good goal potential, or goal threat as it were, but you more know that week in, week out, Sterling, De Bruyne are going to get those starting positions, whereas the rest of the team, you really don't know what Pep's going to do, even in the defence, although with the defence I expect Laporte, okay, so on. But yeah, Mahrez definitely one to consider if he is getting that starting time. And I've had a lot of success with Mahrez. Even when he has come off the bench, he can grab a goal, he can grab an assist, he can still do wonders. But if you have enjoyed this quick little differential midfielder video, don't forget to hit that subscribe, like button, and I'll catch you in the next one.